not only doing coronary you do cardiac catheterization that includes your left and right cardiac cath, okay? Or what we call your hemodynamic studies. This is usually done in patients with valvular heart disease, or most of the often time sa mga pasyente may congenital, especially complex congenital. When you do, so yung left heart cath, so you advance the catheter from the ascending aorta to your ascending aorta, then you cross the aortic valve and take the left, going to the left ventricle. Okay? So you can do left ventricular run, you can measure the pressure in the left ventricle, especially your left ventricular and diastolic pressure. Okay? So, the right side naman, if we do it, we access the femoral vein, advance the catheter to your inferior vena cava, to your right atrium. Above your right atrium are your superior vena cava, your innominate veins, subclavian veins. So you can take pressures on that and saturation or to saturation. On each finger you can get the O2 sat. From the right atrium, you cross the tricuspid valve to your right ventricle, to the right ventricle to your main pulmonary artery, or then branch to right and left pulmonary artery. Okay? So yun yung dadaanan ng catheter. So it measures pressures in the right side of the heart, but it is not part of the routine diagnostic cardiac cath. You just want to find out ano yung mga pressure tracing and the saturation. If you're entertaining shunt anomaly, ASD, ESD, PDA, you have to take the saturation in each chambers. Okay? Kasi kung minsan, pag mataas na yung pulmonary pressure, hindi na, wala na equalize na yung pressure, and there will be equalization of pressure. So you want to find out if there is mixing of an oxygenated blood that is shunted to your right side, magkakaroon ka ng step up sa saturation in a chamber or in a blood vessel. Okay? So step up, meron pa rin level, what is a significant step up. So as we go along, we go. So this is reasonable in patients who can explain this now. Valvular heart disease, pericardial diseases, cardiomyopathy, wherein you have a combined right ventricular dysfunction, congenital heart, and diffuse suspect intracardiac shunts. So this uses a balloon tip flotation catheter, what we call your swan lines or balloon wedge catheter. Or sometimes you just plain catheter, we call it a Purnan catheter, to get all the pressure. The Purnan is an end hole catheter. Okay? And it is advanced sequentially to the right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery. Then to the distal pulmonary artery, if you inflate the balloon, you get the wedge. Your pulmonary capillary wedge pressure is a surrogate of your left atrial pressure. So halos pareho sila yung left atrial pressure. Okay? So in each cardiac chamber, pressure is measured and blood samples are taken to get the O2 saturation. Okay? So, paano mo makikita? So you advance the catheter up to the pulmonary artery. So ito yung pulmonary artery waveform of blue. If you inflate the balloon, you get your pulmonary wedge pressure. This is a surrogate of your left atrial pressure. This Ibig sabihin, once you get the pulmonary wedge pressure, yun yung left atrial pressure. Okay? So, why is that important? Remember, you will have alveolar pulmonary edema. Kasi your left atrial pressure is transmitted back, kung mataas ang left atrial pressure mo, it is transmitted back to your pulmonary veins and pulmonary capillary veins or pulmonary capillaries. That is why you're going to see a tracing that is more or less similar to your left atrial pressure curve. Okay? So, you pull it back. Once na-deflate mo, the pressure tracing will change. Magiging pulmonary artery pressure curve check. This is very similar to your aortic pressure. Mababa lang yung numbers. Then, you pull it back, you will have your right ventricular pressure. Then your right atrial pressure. Okay? Now, sa left heart naman, it measures the pressures in the left side of the chambers. Okay? And you can measure the left ventricular and diastolic pressure. The left ventricular and diastolic pressure, if you have a left ventricular dysfunction, LV dysfunction, whether systolic or diastolic, you expect that your LVEDP is elevated. Your LVEDP is more or less the same as your mean left atrial pressure. So kung mataas ang left ventricular and diastolic pressure mo, you expect elevation of your left atrial pressure. Right? So, if they're going to ask you, a patient in pulmonary edema, pulmonary congestion, pulmonary edema or alveolar edema is that usually the pressure is elevated or more than 25 millimeters mercury. Okay? So, pag 25 millimeters mercury, you will have pulmonary alveolar edema. But by X-ray, makikita mo rin yan. If your pressure is 18 millimeters mercury, there will be signs of pulmonary congestion. Okay? Ano ba normal PAP natin? Pulmonary capillary wedge or left atrial pressure. Ha? Binigay ko na yun eh. Nakatabulate yun. Kailangan i-memorize mo less than 12. Ha? So, ibig sabihin, kung ang normal mo is 12 and you want to ang pasyente mo is hypotensive, you can go as high as 18 millimeters mercury to load your patient with volume. So, at 18 millimeters mercury, 18 to 25, meron pa na rin pulmonary congestion by X-ray. There will be redistribution of your pulmonary vascular markings. So, you can go as high as 18. Safe ka doon. Kasi, magkakaroon ka pa rin ng gas exchange because fluids are not yet in the alveoli. Okay? That's how you maximize the volume load ng pasyente. Okay? Now, so, in case na walang wedge pressure, sometimes we take directly the pressure in the left atrium by doing a transeptal fracture. Well, masyado ng invasive yun. just to get your left atrial pressure. Okay? So it's called transeptal. From the right side, you go across the interatrial septum by puncturing the interatrial septum, then proceed. Okay? So hemodynamic wise, the comprehensive hemodynamic assessment involves obtaining pressure, measurement of the right side and the left heart chambers, as well as the peripheral arterial system, the aorta and the pulmonary artery. With that, may mga numbers na ibibigay sa inyo plus yung saturation in each chamber. You can compute now for your cardiac output. Okay? So this is a tracing of the different chambers. So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. You need to memorize what are the normal pressure in those chambers. Meron na kayo ito, na inusulan. Binigay ko na sa inyo yung USB. So, mahirapan kayo malaman whether it is abnormal if you don't know the normal. Yun lang ang gusto kong sabihin sa inyo dito. Okay? Now, na-lecture na sa inyo ito. This is the cardiac cycle or your Wigner's diagram. Diba? I think lumalabas ito. I want you to identify kung ano yung mga pressures, ano yung mga tracing dyan. Okay? Okay. Now, this is a schematic presentation of the relationship between the left side and the right side. Okay? So, kung titignan nyo, alin ang mas mahaba? LV systole o RV systole? On this diagram, asan ba yung systole? So, your systole occurs after your S1 and ends after your S2. Ano, before your or during S2. So, ito yung systole mo. As you can see, the left ventricular ejection is much shorter than your RV ejection. So, ibig sabihin, ang systole mo on the right side, and medyo mahaba kaysa sa right side. Why is that? Because of the difference in the pressure. Sa right side, mas mababa yung pressure kaysa sa left side. Okay? So, tapos na tayo dito, ito yung different waveforms ng right side. Okay? So, on the atrial pressure curve, you have your ACT wave. Yeah? Okay. Now, sa left side naman, left-sided chamber. In patient na merong aortic stenosis, what is the problem? You have a pressure gradient, a pressure difference between the left ventricle and the aorta, sa aortic stenosis. So you expect that the left ventricle will have an elevated systolic pressure. Ayan. So ito yung left ventricular pressure curve niya. Okay? And this is your aortic pressure. And sabi natin, this is your systole and this is your diastole. So what is the hemodynamic hallmark of aortic stenosis? Pag tinanong ka yung ganon. So ang hallmark niya is the pressure difference during systole between your aorta and your left ventricle. Kasi kailangan mag-contract ng malakas, your left ventricle has to generate a higher pressure to inject the blood in a stenotic aortic valve. So, this difference is your gradient, yung white na yan, during systole. Sa mitral stenosis, ang problem naman is you have a pressure gradient across your mitral valve during diastole. Kaya ito yung systole, ito yung diastole. Okay? So, mataas ang pressure nyo sa left atrium kumpara nyo sa diastolic pressure ng left ventricle. So, this is now your gradient. Yun yung difference sa mitral stenosis. Makikita nyo lahat yan when we do percutaneous transmitral chorotomy o TTNC. So, kukuha ng baseline, you expect na meron yung difference. Once you open up the valve, bababa yan. Okay? Yung left atrial pressure. So, tandaan nyo yung mga timing. In Hong Kong, yan, ang Hong Kong anong sabi natin? Following a PVC contraction, there is an increase in the left ventricular gradient, pressure gradient. With a simultaneous decrease in the aortic pulse pressure. So, paano siya lalabas? So, Hong Kong, meron kang subaortic o subvalvar stenosis, obstruction dun sa aortic valve nyo, below the valve, because of the hypertrophy ng muscle. So, meron kang gradient. Okay? Then, you induce now your PVC. Kakaroon ka ng premature beat. Ito, napaaga, decision premature beat. After the premature beat, anong nangyayari? You prolong your diastole. Meron kang pause. So, prolong yung diastole mo. You expect now, meron ka ngayon na-aggravate tuloy yung pressure gradient. So, you will have an elevated left ventricular pressure, systolic pressure, and a much lower aortic pressure. So, you call that your broken Ron wall sign. Okay? Tatandaan nyo, yung mga maneuvers nyo, ano yung dalawang condition? One is Mokong, and the other one is Mokong prolapse. Ito yung maraming exception. Okay. What about, pupunta rin tayo dito next lecture nyo, dito na yun. So you have findings in tamponade, constrictive pericarditis, restrictive cardiomyopathy. All this condition and problem dyan is elevated left ventricular pressure or equalization of your left ventricular pressure. So you must lumalabas parati yan on how you're going to differentiate this four. Okay? And then yun. So how do you measure your cardiac output? The cardiac output is measured by two methods. The Fick method and by thermodiffusion technique. Okay? Or, pangatlo pa pala, if you do an angiogram, a left ventriculogram, you try to measure the volume during systole and diastole. Okay? So, tatlo yun. Yung isa, angiographic, yung isa, Fick method, and the other one is thermodiffusion technique. So, by Fick's method, This is the formula. So you have to get the O2 consumption over the arterial venous oxygen difference. That's kaya kailangan nakukumpleto yung hemodynamic study nyo by getting all the saturation as well as the pressure. Okay? Tandaan nyo lang, huwag nyo memorize yung ano. Kung sino yung magkakardio, yun yung mag-memorize. Okay? Saka pinag-compute, lalo na ngayon, ng mga makina, ng mga blood machine, pinakompute na nila. Anyway, ang tandaan nyo lang, O2 consumption is estimated at 125 ml of oxygen per minute times the body surface area. That's how you get your O2 consumption. And the O2 carrying capacity of the blood is hemoglobin times 1.36 times the fractional oxygen saturation, 0.something. Kahit na ako, ngayon, hindi memorize yun. Okay, vascular resistance naman, this is the force against, diba? So you have your SVR, which is equal to mean aortic pressure minus your mean right atrial pressure over your cardiac output times 80. This is very important with regards to your congenital anomalies, shunt anomalies. Especially if they're going to ask you to compute for pulmonary vascular resistance. Okay? You can also compute for your valve area, but most of the time, kaya nga nabawasan na yung cases ng hemodynamic study because you can get this non-invasively on the echocardiogram. Natandaan nyo. So these are nice to know. Hindi naman mawawala yan. So you compute for the valve area based on the Gordon's formula. Okay? Cardiac output over the DNP, that's the pressure change. Tapos heart rate over 37. Now, itong ano to, nako-compute na rin ng machine. Ano? Dati, not so long ago during our time, kami pa yung nagte-trace. We do it manually. Okay? Valve area, this is another formula, your modified Happy formula. Cardiac output divided by the square root of the pressure gradient. Mga short yan. Pag nagpa-assist yung isang consultant na galing kami sa ibang hospital, we have to get the valve area kagad. We have to compute. So, mga shortcut. Intracardiac shunt. A shunt should be suspected when there is an unexplained arterial desaturation or increased oxygen saturation of the venous blood. Shunt is localized by detecting a difference in O2 saturation level of 5 to 7%, okay, between adjacent cardiac chamber. Tandaan nyo yung number na. So in other words, if you want to do Satran, to complete the whole saturation run, pwedeng i-shortcut mo naman. You take the RA pressure or SBC plus IBC saturation, then take the pulmonary artery. If there is increase in the saturation in the pulmonary artery, then you do your complete Satran. Ibig sabihin ng complete Satran is that you take each chamber, lahat ng chamber ng saturation. Sa RD, for you to localize the sun and shunt, huwag ka sa main pulmonary artery, no? Buka ka ng siyam doon. Sa right ventricle, tatlo usually, or oftentimes, ideally tatlo. Para ma-determine mo kung nasaan yung siyam. Whether nasa taas, perimembranous, nasa body, nasa septum, o nasa apex. So, you do 3 samples sa RDOT, sa body, and apex sa RD. Sa RA naman, you have 3 samples as well, an RA high, mid RA, and low RA. Tatlo. Then you take the IBC, one sample in the inferior vena cava, and another 2 samples in the superior vena cava. Tinatamad ka saan naman. So, for ASD, a shunt ratio, a shunt ratio of 1.5 is considered significant. Ibig sabihin, yung shunt ratio, that's the pulmonary flow. Yung pulmonary flow mo is higher than your systemic flow dun sa aorta. Kasi some of the blood in the aorta is shunted to your pulmonary circulation. Intindihan niya, pumupunta sa kaliwa. So there is now mixing of blood at the level of your atrium. Okay? So yung normal venous return plus the shunted blood, yun yung pulmonary flow mo, pulmonary cardiac output. So ang ratio mo between QPQS, the pulmonary flow over your systemic blood flow, if it's more than 1.5, that's a significant shunt. Okay? At the level of your ventricle, your VSD naman, a shunt ratio more than 2, yun yung cut-off. Okay? So, pag ang shunt nyo is more than those numbers, then you have an indication already of closing the pipe. Okay? So how do you do your ventriculogram? So you inject dye in the ventricle, that is, the other one is during diastole, and this one is during systole. So if you trace mo yan, then you tube it, you get the volume, tapos in diastole and in systole. So yung difference na yun, that's your cardiac output. You know? So you can assess for any wall motion abnormality. Okay? The degree of mitral regurgitation. Kung may mitral insufficiency yung pasyente, you expect that there will be opacification of your left atrium. This is your left atrium, yung area na yan. And this is your aortic valve, ito yung aortic valve, and somewhere here is your mitral valve. Okay. Of course, with another view, we call it Bargeron's, that's a cranial LAO view, or we call it Bargeron's. If you inject on that area, ang makikita nyo is that there will be passage of dye from the left ventricle to your right ventricle. So that suggests an ASD. So sa mitral regurgitation, this is the aorta, this is the catheter in the left ventricle, but during systole, there will be opacification of your left atrium because of mitral insufficiency. How do we quantify or grade the insufficiency? That is based on your Seller's criteria. So this is the Seller's criteria: mild, moderate, moderate to severe, and the severe mitral regurgitation. This is based on the opacification between your left atrium and your isang contraction lang, karamihan mas na-opacify yung left atrium during systole. Isang contraction lang, mas darker yung left atrium mo. That's already severe. Okay? Kung pantay sila, then more or less that's moderate to severe. VSD, this is VSD, that's the left ventricle and that's the right ventricle. There will be passage of dye across the ventricular septum through a VSD, ventricular septal defect. Okay, this is an LA of cranial projection. So this is how you calculate based on the left ventriculogram in an area of projection. So you try to get the area during end diastole and during systole, complete blue and systole. So end diastolic volume, you cube that and it becomes your volume. End diastolic volume minus your end systolic volume, that is your stroke volume. Okay? Stroke volume, so in the ejection fraction is stroke volume over the end diastolic volume times 100, then you get your ejection fraction. That is a sign, a reflection of your left ventricular systolic function. But you can get this non-invasively through echocardiogram. Okay? Aortogram, you inject dye in the ascending aorta. Makikita mo lahat yan. So this is in a lateral projection or AP view, anteroposterior view. So this is the aorta. This is the ascending transverse. You have your 3 branches, then descending aorta. Okay? What are the 3 branches? You have your brachiocephalic. This one is your left common carotid, and this one is your left subclavian reflex to the left arm. Your brachiocephalic, this is the right common carotid, and this is the right brachial artery. Okay? So kung may mga aneurysm, may mga dissection, we do this. But now, ito na. You have your EDG, your aortogram, CT aortogram, and your MRA. Now, minsan, we inject here to see if you have a patent with sulfuriosis, PDA. PDA is a communication between the aorta and your pulmonary artery, right? Ito yun, usually. Okay? So, if you have a PDA, you inject dye, pacify mo ang pulmonary artery. If you inject in the ascending aorta, you have aortic regurgitation, there will be a pacification of your left ventricle. Okay. So, X-ray, fluoroscopy, wala nang ano dyan. You just want to see yung movement. What is this? That's a metallic prosthetic valve. Okay? So if you have valve dysfunction, kung hindi nagsasara, hindi bumubuka ang valve, there will be limitation of these reflex. Okay? Hindi ang gagalaw. Then you know, pag hindi gumalaw, hindi bumuka, hindi mag-open, patient becomes a symptomatic, then that's a diagnosis for valve dysfunction, metallic valve dysfunction. So the incidence for valve dysfunction post-surgery can be 0.1 hanggang 6% patient year. The most common cause would be either a thrombus or pannus formation. Yung pannus, that is a scar. Para siyang kiloid, lumaki, pumasok dun sa valve na yun, ibig sabihin, gumapang papunta dun sa opening and closing ng leaflet ng valve, or it may impair the opening and closing of the valve. Then you have your coronary angiography, normal coronaries. Okay. Normally you have two coronary ostia, the left coronary artery, then it divides into two main arteries, the LAD, which supplies your anterior wall, then your circumflex, which supplies your lateral wall, and of course your right coronary artery. So these are the sum of the projection. That is the projection ng sa dulo. That's your caudal. So nasa ibaba, array o caudal. This one is a array o cranial view. It's again ang tabi niya eye ng X-ray, and this is your array o cranial, LA o cranial. Yung sa right coronary artery. In about 95% of cases, so you have branches. The circumflex, ang course ng circumflex is along the AD group. Atrioventricular group. So yung mga branches that goes to the right, if you're reviewing an angiogram, any branches that goes to the right, the branch line, are your obtuse marginal branch that supplies yung high lateral wall ng ventricle. Then you have your left anterior descending artery that supplies your anterior. Then in this projection, all those branches that goes to the right are called your diagonal branches. So depende yan kung kalaki. And this one, yung mga branches to the left are your septal branches. It supplies your anterior septum. This one is the right coronary artery. Pagkat dumadaan dito sa AV group din, magpimit sila ng circumflex. Okay? Now, this one, maliit lang ng ang PDA nyo, depende rin. Okay, kung malaki masyado yung yung circumflex nyo, usually maliit ito. Okay? The one that determines the dominant vessel is the one that gives the right posterior descending artery. Okay, PDA. So in more than 95% of cases, the right is the dominant vessel. It's the one giving off the posterior descending artery. Now, quantitative coronary angiography before, yung machine, so calculate niya kung gaano ka-significant yung isang para. Most of the time, through eyeballing lang. Sana na yan lang talaga. But you can, the machine, pwede mong kunin ito, yung diameter, then you call that your quantitative coronary angiography. How much percentage ang narrowing? Okay? What about myocardial bridge? Most of the time it involves your LAD. What happens? Kita mo that during systole, there is systolic constriction. Why? Yung artery nagda-dive deep into the myocardium that during systole, nako-compress yan. Okay? Wala siyang bara. Ang bara lang is during systole. But during diastole, normal ang coronary artery, epicardial vessel. What you see in the angiogram are your epicardial vessel. So, napo-compress na yung artery. So, anong gagawin doon? We've seen pasyente na-stent because of that. You don't do that. Kasi kung severe ang systolic constriction, baka mapipi yung stent nyo. That will give you a very big problem. Right? So what do? You try to prolong the diastole. So you want to decrease the heart rate to prolong your diastolic filling time. Kasi pag bumibilis, doon sila nag-angina. So during diastole, normal ang mga ugat. So myocardial bridge, ano yun dito? Buo siya. Ang left arterial descending, but during systole, nawawala. Then, nandun pa yun sa ugat. Okay? So nakukompress yan ang myocardial during systole. Now, there are a lot of imaging now. Marami nang ginagamit inside the cath lab. One is an intravascular focus. The advantage of this is that you want to find out ano yung area, minimum luminal area. It provides a more accurate anatomic assessment of the coronary artery. Okay? The degree of coronary atherosclerosis. Now, there are imaging technique na madi-differentiate niya. Once you see the plaque, it qualifies kung anong klase plaque. Whether it is fibrotic, whether that is thrombus, whether that is a calcified plaque. Nakikita na yan inside the cath lab. So, hindi lang 40 megahertz na yun. Sobra-sobra na, hundreds na. So, very much clearer ang images. So, you want to image the atherosclerotic plaque, precisely determine the luminal cross-sectional area, and measure the vessel size. This is very important during interventional procedure. Kasi as much as possible, your stent should be well opposed to the blood vessel. Otherwise, kung hindi siya well opposed, ang restenosis rate is very high. Okay? Now, stent placement. Yan ang mga advantage naman. So, examples are this one. So, this is a pullback ng circumflex ramna. As you can see, dito sa D, this is the tightest. Tingnan nyo, ganito ang cross-sectional area based on the intravascular ultrasound. This is more of fibrocalcific. Ito, halos calcified dito. Ito rin, more of fibrous tissue. So more or less you can determine. Kasi kung calcified yan, you're going to need more device to modify the plaque. Pag binanod mo yan, hindi bubuka yan. Because of the heavy calcification. Now you have the OCT, optical coherence tomography. This is another imaging, but hindi lahat yan nagagamit kasi bawat open mo ng catheter, ilang libo na yan, ilang thousands na yan. Ang isang high-dose catheter can cost as high as 50 to 60,000 pesos. Okay? Then you have your pressure wire to measure the fractional flow reserve. So it's a wire where you can get the pressure. You pass the wire across the stenosis. Okay? Then you pull it back to get the pressure difference. The ratio, the pressure, if the ratio is less than 0.8, that means significant tube stenosis. Okay? So ang number dito is 0.8. Okay? So, if your FFR is not significant, more than 0.8, then you don't do anything. Okay? Di mo kailangan extend, di mo kailangan lumulog. But the significance of the stenosis, pwede mo rin gawin yan. But if you are inside the cath lab, most of the time this is being used to multi-vessel. Masyado maraming stent. You don't want to cut all these stenosis na nakita na. At dami lang ng metal inside the blood vessel. Okay? Ito yung FFR. So this is how you get your P1 and your P2. Huh? So post-procedural, the most common complication ng cardiac cath is hematoma, bleeding. Okay? So now you have tinatawag na mga occlusion ng blood vessel, pero most of the time what we do is fellowship or vascular seal. Ang fellowship, yung fellow, mag-press dun sa puncture site. Okay? So iba-iba on how you yung hemostasis niya dun sa puncture site. Okay? Do you have questions? Wala? Oras na. I was there 45 minutes na. Okay. So, yun yung cardiac cath, ano? Alam niyo na siguro kung ano yung treatment, angioplasty. Now, we have more complex angioplasty. We have, inside the cath lab, you have the stents. Oh, the stents lang. Dati, balloon, then stents. Bare metal stents. Okay, drug-eluting stents. Ano? Now, you have your imaging. You have your IBUS. You have your OCT. Now you have gadgets for plaque modifications like your rotablator. Rotablator is drilling inside the blood vessel for calcified lesions. You have your rotational atherectomy, sanding naman yun. Then you have your cutting balloons, try to crack yung calcified lesion for you to expand yung calcified lesion and stent it. Kasi as much as possible, we want the stent to be opposed to your blood vessel. Okay? So the more complicated it becomes, pwede kang demanding of force yung complications. Okay? Hindi naman papasa yan sa FDA o sa EC mark ng Europe kung hindi naman safe. Okay? Okay. Now, ito na tayo sa heart failure. Tapos na ba kayo? Di pa na? Kasi para next week, we go to your cardiomyopathies and your perivascular diseases. Tapos na ba kayo ng heart failure? Tapos na yan? Kung tapos na kayo, magsisimula na ako sa pericardial. Para yung first day nyo, you will have your post-test analysis. Bibigay ako ng questions. Doon ko malalaman kung may naintindihan kayo. Sabi lang ni Dr. Anthony magbibigay mo. Pag nasagot niyo yun, ibig sabihin, papasakay sa isa. Ha? Wala. Tapos na kayo dito. Bakit wala akong kasagot? Sigurado kayo? But anyway, Kayo tayo, ayaw mag-legs work ninyo. Actually, pag sinabi mo heart failure kasi, there are two forms. You have your diastolic and your systolic. Okay? Heart failure. But the definition of your heart failure is based on the Framingham criteria. You know the Framingham criteria for congestive heart failure. At ang heart failure is just a manifestation of the disease ng ng isang problem sa puso. This may be congenital. That is why, what I want you to know, gusto ko malaman kasi madalas, ito, heart failure kasi. Pero ano yung cause ng heart failure? That's the question. Kaya nga, kasama lang siya sa diagnosis, ng complete cardiac diagnosis, and it belongs dun sa physiologic diagnosis. Naintindihan niyo? Yung dulo, apat kasi yan. Anatomic, you have your etiologic, anatomic, physiologic, and your functional class. No? Sa diagnosis. Ayan. Course could be